We are.
Yeah, well, I just hit start streaming, so we gonna be live.
Where's the boxes though? All I see is cake.
It doesn't matter, dude. Fuck them. F the.
See? You see?
Don't get us canceled.
Oh, you're
The first thing they're gonna see when they start off this video.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody?
We got a special guest.
What's going on? Let us know in the chat. Say what's up in the chat if you're here already. But we're gonna go live at 8 o'clock. We're going with the show. And right now we're just doing a pre-show, letting everybody get in here. And we're gonna have some fun until then. You know, anybody got anything to say in the pre-show? This is a free-for-all.
Wait, hold up. I gotta change my background. I gotta change my
baby.
background. Kill.
PJ
This for Bedon. This for Bedon right here.
PJ Meat is in the building.
You see what that is? You see what that is?
Oh,
They need to get tested.
oh, that's
See what that is?
Oh, okay.
Bedon, go ahead. You do that. You're gonna do the intro for me. You when we go live, you tell them what my background is.
Oh.
Well, we live right now, so you might as well say it. PJ Neat is in the building.
Now when we go live, I'm gonna change it to just a plain.
Oh, you talking about your intro when I go around the horn? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah, so
Boom, chakalaka.
We're still canceled by YouTube. Restricted mode.
oh boo. All
Do-
right,
do-
so
do
guys,
you
I
have
got
YouTube Kids?
huh? What
No,
you said, Bill?
I have YouTube Premium.
So do I, but I don't get us in restricted mode.
We
I
go
don't. I have to
live
turn off.
at
I don't know why it turned on restricted mode for me.
Is that your work computer?
I plead the fifth.
Yo, stop
Okay,
bullying.
because my
Oh, why are you asking those type of questions?
That's
why.
Bedon
This
is the
guy,
everyman.
man.
Damn, Bedon, you're the worst.
He's
That's
the
a rookie mistake.
political norm.
Wow, you're such a capitalist using your work computer.
All right, so I got something to
That's
say.
why. That's why.
Let me jump in here real quick and stop with all this jibber jab. All right, I got something
Jabber
to show
jibbers.
real quick. So we got Morgan Harper, who announced she's running as a Justice Democrat. I don't know. Did you guys see this? Everybody saw this?
They still got those.
No.
Boo.
Justice Democrats, yes. So she got her.
Morgan Harper.
Can you guys hear
Morgan
this?
Harper.
Morgan Harper.
Well, speaking of political change,
I'm not going to play the whole video. It's a very nice ad.
I don't know who she is.
But this is why I'm bringing this up, because some guy named CaseStudyQB back in February 3rd, 2021 tweeted this out. Tim Ryan was on MSNBC and he's thinking about running in the Ohio Senate state because Ron Portman, he's retiring. And then I put we need a progressive alternative, and I put Morgan just ran for a House seat as a Justice Democrat and had a pretty good showing for the first time. I wonder if she's interested. Did I predict right? Interesting. And at some point, I'm gonna put a wall up, CaseStudyQB's enemies wall, because this stuff is coming to fruition. We got rid of Cuomo. We could put a big X on his face, and then next is gonna be Gavin Newsom. I believe he's gonna be out, and unfortunately, he's gonna be a Republican taking his place, but he's gonna be
A
gone.
Republican governor in California?
Yes. You ever heard of
This
Arnold
happened.
Schwarzenegger? You ever heard of him?
Yeah, well, he wanted some
right.
crap.
Ronald
He went out
Reagan.
for recall too.
All you need is for the recall to take place, and whoever's next is going to become governor. So if what's his name, Gavin Newsom gets 49%, even if somebody gets 9%, the next person, they're going to be governor. It's a really bad. They don't even have a runoff. It's a really bad system. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's really strange. I see your face, John. Yeah, it's definitely strange. You can
That don't
have.
sound right. That
That
don't
doesn't
sound right.
make a lot of sense.
I know
No,
that everybody complains about it. Everybody I've been listening to. So, for example, let's say Gavin Newsom got 49%. He didn't get 51%. And let's say there's like 20 other people, and the next other person got 5%, and everybody else got 2s, like a bunch of 2%, right? That 5% person is going to be governor.
Nah, that's not right. I think
No.
that 5% maybe goes into a runoff with Newsom.
There's no
maybe.
runoff. Ask anybody. I've heard several people complain about this on
Yo,
the
that
internet.
sounds ridiculous. I do not. Sorry, I don't believe you. That sounds
Hey,
too
sorry.
ridiculous.
Sounds like democracy to me.
I know.
That don't sound right
I know.
at
It's
all.
crazy. It's crazy. But
It sounds like
if
something that Texas would do.
If only Gavin Newsom didn't veto Medicare for all, I
Yeah.
wonder maybe the people would like him more.
right? He's trying to make up for it now by doing several things, but it might be too late.
Too bad, so sad.
What time is it? 7:55. Let me know when it's 8 o'clock so we can start.
Oh wait, so you got time? Play the video.
Oh, you want to play the ad?
Yeah, sure.
I just
Didn't I share the ad with you?
No, there's more important news that happened.
Oh, okay. What happened?
OnlyFans is getting rid of adult
let's talk
content.
about that.
Oh, that's true. They all applying to be truck drivers. I was reading about that.
I thought it was because
They were saying that they were predicting that by 2023 truck drivers will have 100,000 shortage, and then they were saying to all the OnlyFans that they have jobs for them. I think I was reading an article about that.
Become truck drivers.
So wait, so what is OnlyFans going to be about?
I don't know, because that must be their biggest moneymaker.
Used to
So
be.
one thing I saw on Twitter was
Wait,
that it was
hold on
related-
1 second, Bendone. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. We got people in the chat. We got PJ Chris is in the chat. Hollyhorn, I know you always over there from Heartlands Media, but you PJ, you've been elevated. PJ Hollyhorn is in the building, and I just want to give him a shout out real quick. All right, go ahead, Bendone.
I sort of switched my account.
that there's confusion. Again, I don't think OnlyFans has released a good statement on it, but there's confusion because they were trying to release an app for your phone, and Apple's policies don't allow explicit content. So there's a lot of questions are like, is it just related because of the app, or is it their overall content as a whole? Because it's a difference from a user being able to
The
post
whole
it.
site is going down. The whole site is not going to allow any adult content. They're going to allow some nudity, but not adult content.
Not explicit.
Nudity, adult content.
Not explicit content. That's what.
Okay.
Tell me you don't understand your business model without telling me you don't understand your business model.
Yeah.
Damn, I knew I should have created an account before.
So I gotta talk to Amaro. That was our idea, and OnlyFans stole it from us.
Oh,
It's our chance, baby. It's our chance.
Oh Lord, he'll come back.
You know, it's gonna be some other site like Pornhub is gonna take over with that.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Nobody wants to be on Pornhub. There's a
I'll say
stigma
Tiger-
associated.
Tiger started to make his own similar site now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's big in OnlyFans. I heard. I got something else pre-show. This I saw a story.
Yeah.
Hundreds of cops are dying of COVID. They still won't get vaccinated.
Oh, cops.
Now it's
Who-
FDA
who is it?
approved.
Wow.
Hundreds of cops.
Oh,
dying of
hundreds of
COVID.
cops.
Yeah. So it's like in place like Atlanta, the percentage of cops versus like the city is higher, but in places like New York and Chicago, it's like, let's say 75% of people vaccinated, cops are like 27%, something like that. And it's like somebody made a statement talking about, no, they're very cautious about whatever. Like, you're not cautious about putting out somebody with a gun and shooting them real quick. So how you be cautious about a vaccine? So hey, whatever. See, Chris is like, that's true down here in Florida too. So
Alan was talking about the previous conversation. He said cooking, lifestyle, and other. Can't read that.
Well, let's see how long we can get through without getting
Oh,
demonetized.
He said
There were
said
barbers. There were barbers,
He
trainers.
said cooking,
selling
lifestyle, and other non-penetrative content.
And there we go.
I have to say it. Carlito comment.
So we're gonna watch the video, or
yo, so some
We're not.
The ad? Do you still want
We're not a political show right now.
we're just talking about penetration content.
That's the pre-show,
the pre-show
baby.
is about important
the
news like
pre-show.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That's the pre-show. All right,
I
so
heard
wait.
Trump got booed.
Yeah,
When
I
he
heard
said I got
that.
vaccinated.
So, the Rational National at that video. I saw that.
Like, oh man, they like try to walk it back real quick. Like, I mean, freedom. I mean, it works.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, baby. Let's get the show on the road.
Well, you trying to take over DJ? Come on, you can't do that, Bedon.
Oh,
Don't
Ben, I
put some
thought you were still
music
playing
on.
the music. Go ahead, play the music, baby.
But don't play the music.
Yeah! What's up, everybody? This is CaseStudyQB, and we are the political junkies back at it again. Having fun. Yeah, any new people out there from the David Doe interview? Much love to you if you're out there. Let's get the party going.
Everybody,
I've been
everybody
thank
put
you
your
so
cups up.
much.
Cups of water up.
All right, let's get to it. So we got a lot to cover in this show today. And any new people coming over from the interview, we had a big interview with David Dole on the Rational National. Much love to him. And I was out there advertising the initiative, People's Gauntlet. So hopefully that turns into something and grows. But let me go around the horn with my guys. We got Carlito, Gabe, Izzy, Bendon, John. What's going on, Carlito?
Perdón. Tell him what's going on. Look at my background. You tell him what's going on.
Uh-oh.
It was a good weekend for Carlito's team. Won for the first time a world title. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's only been around till like 2013 or whatever, so it's not like it's been forever, but we beat everybody. We're the champions, Call of Duty League. Bedon's team was like 8th place.
Yeah.
8 out of 12.
All right. We're going to keep it moving. Gabe, what's up, my man?
Same old, trying to stay positive in a toxic world.
Nice. I hear you. I see you in the White House. We need President President Gabe out there. I don't want to put the word.
That's it. You already know.
Izzy, what's up, my man?
Doing all right. Just we're getting through a little hurricane, you know. Next we have the heat wave coming back, so global warming at its finest.
Oh Lord. Oh man, you just put me down automatically at the beginning of the show.
Reality, man, reality.
Yeah.
Leave it too easy.
See, Alan put Gabe 2024, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Independent, progressive Republican.
Progressive Republican added. John, how you doing, my man?
What's up? It's Monday.
It's Monday. Let's get the party started.
I'm here. I want to buy some of those hotel Nancy Pelosi's buying.
Oh Lord. I'm gonna start off with this meme of the week. There was a time when religious conservatives had no problem wearing masks. And then this is a old newspaper. Homosexual disease threatening American families. So this is an old picture and showing Republicans wearing a mask with no problems.
You talk about me bringing down the show, damn.
Hey, somebody suggested it, meme of the week in our chat, so I added it. Anybody got anything to say?
Besides horrendous.
Our freedoms.
Freedom. All right, let's go on to no cow zone is going to be interesting topics. I touched on it last week too, and I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi, man. What you guys think about her holding fast? And she's out there bullying these non-moderates. We're going to talk about it. Let's not talk about it now. We're going to talk about it then. And then also we're going to talk about how much money should socialists make? Should they be poor? Or should they have a decent amount of money? Should they not live in mansions like Hassan Piker? So we're going to talk about that then as well. So with that said, let's get into Carlito's rundown.
And you don't even bother saying rapid fire because it's a big lie.
Yeah. We changed it. It's already over. Rapid fire is done. It's done. All
right. Number 1, algorithms are worsening racism, bias, discrimination by Public Citizen at citizen.org. Algorithms systematically and disproportionately harm Black and Brown communities by restricting opportunity and access, raising prices, and increasing surveillance and law enforcement, according to a new report from Public Citizen. We talked about algorithms before when it came to determining sentences, when someone should go to jail or be held without parole. Like one example we gave was like there was a white man with a history of violent crimes and drug trafficking that was let out, and while a Black person with first offense was put in on parole, or not on parole, but held on bail. So this report found other troubling findings. So what are other things that, everything being equal, the algorithms found that people of color get more punitive punishments. So we have another report finding the same results: more expensive car insurance, lower credit score, higher interest rate on mortgages, if they're even accepted, denied admission in schools, given worse grades, denied life-saving healthcare, and over-policing their communities. So if the people programming these colorblind algorithms have biases themselves, how will America and the world ever be just, Case?
America and the world will never be just. We started off downer, and I want to keep that vibe down. And I think that, yeah, unfortunately, but I think that until we have, minorities programming these algorithms themselves and having better representation, and that's a problem. It's a systemic issue, right? We have that problem in a whole different area, in a variety of areas. So it's just the same in this area as we, grow in technology and grow with how advanced we are. Until we have minority people programming the algorithms, we're gonna have this problem.
Wait, are you assuming that minorities are not creating these algorithms?
I think I read another article that talked about how minorities are not programming these algorithms.
Well, part of it is all the programmers themselves, and then the other part of it is the data that we're feeding these algorithms. So algorithms are all based on data. So if we're feeding the algorithms data that's biased itself, then we're always going to have this problem regardless of who's programming.
Yep.
That too. But let me give you guys a personal example. So back in the days, I bought an Xbox One Connect, and that's the thing with the camera, so you can play video games, like you do the Dance Revolution or whatever. So there was a game that was a jet ski game. So the way that it knows that you're accelerating, you put your hands like this, and then you close your hands, and it knows you're like grabbing the thing and then steering it. And for some reason, it wouldn't recognize my dark hand when I was closing it like this. So I couldn't drive the damn jet ski, so I could never play the game.
Wow, that's hilarious.
So I just had to play the dance game.
I mean, Microsoft clearly You threw me off on that one. Microsoft does not believe that black people should be on jet skis, so that's why.
Say black people can't swim.
Skiing is not for you. Skiing is not for you, Carlito.
It's for my own safety.
From Bill Gates to you.
7 minutes in. We made it 7 minutes in. Canceled.
Canceled. All right, let's go.
Yeah, Pookie Wood, Dance Central 2021. I got that. I'll be kicking my kid's butt on that, man. I'm nasty.
Oh, shout out to Pookie Wood. Pookie Wood.
That's how you be also be beating Bendon in Call of Duty, right?
Exactly. Champions. Look at this. Look at my background. Champions.
Ask Carlito the last time you beat me.
That's what?
The last time you beat me in Call of Duty.
We never. Well, last time we played
how
together.
we getting so off the rails? The whole show is going off the rails. Carlito, let's go on to the next story.
All right. Next story. Let's keep it in the algorithm theme.
Yeah.
Pasco Sheriff's Office letter targets residents for increased accountability. An investigation by the Tampa Bay Times. So speaking of algorithms, you ever watch the movie Minority Report? Then you'll find the story of pre-crime familiar. The Pasco Sheriff's Office sent letters to recipients stating, "We are pleased to inform you that you have been selected to participate in a prolific offender program. But this is an invitation that you can't refuse because of their unbiased and evidence-based risk assessment. They'll go to great efforts to encourage change in your life through enhanced support and increased accountability." What does that mean? They're going to be harassing you, sending deputies to your home repeatedly, often without a search warrant or probable cause. The letter also says that the sheriff's office will share recipients' names and criminal histories with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to ensure the highest level of accountability for any future crimes they commit. And don't you worry about little black and brown kitties. They didn't forget about you. The Times also found that the agency has a separate program that uses school children's grades, attendance records, and abuse histories to label them potential future criminals. So great news. Parents in that county should be thrilled that their kids have an extra incentive to do well in school. Isn't that great, Gabe?
It is America. America is the place where the cops can kill you and then they can tell you, congratulations, you have won additional surveillance. And then they spin it as a positive thing. We are interested in making sure that you're doing well because we know that people like you have drug problems and have mental problems and can't get a job because of your criminal history. But don't worry, we are invested in your doing well and we'll be checking in on you. It's crazy. It's the word of the week is gaslighting. It is making people feel like they're crazy. It is a preposterous thing. And overall, just how do you combat system that is racist from top to bottom. This is a system that is undoubtedly gonna also target Black and brown people, just like the algorithms that we've seen on previous episodes. So we're pretty much it's systemic racism is real, and even as technology evolves, so does that systemic racism.
On the great state of Florida, Gabe.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Making
it's Florida.
America.
And
crap
one
again.
of that's the worst part to me is the part about the kids, because if they're unfortunate enough to be abused, they're going to use that as the marker that they're going to become an abuser in the future and going to start tailing them from the beginning. I mean, so you get abused by whoever, and then you get abused by the cops afterwards for the rest of your life. Damn, Florida. Anyways, let's talk about
not from Florida, from Miami.
more sad things. All right. 61% of Americans paid no federal income taxes in 2020, Tax Policy Center says, by Robert Frank at CNBC. So the pandemic and federal stimulus led to a huge spike in the number of Americans who either owe no federal income tax or receive tax credits from the government. According to the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center, 107 million households owed no income taxes in 2020, up from 76 million or 44% of all taxpayers in 2019. They expect the number to be 57% this year before falling to 42% in 2022. The main reasons for the spike: high unemployment, less stimulus checks, and generous tax credit programs that they will largely expire in 2022. But now, before fake conservatives get their panties in a bunch, there we also have billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Carl Icahn who pay zero federal income taxes in certain years. So it's not just about the poor people. It's also important to know that yes, high earners pay a larger share of taxes, but that's because they have all of the money in the first place. So something that looks like a large cut percentage-wise for a low earner is very little money compared to a smaller cut for a high earner. And the article gives an example where somebody owed $1,500 in income tax before they got 2 stimulus payments of $1,200 and then $600 in December, and that threw them into the category of non-payers. But while the payments resulted in a large percentage increase of their after-tax income, the dollar amount of the tax cut was only a tiny fraction of a high-income flyer who received a tax cut of, say, $30,000 from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So given that more than half of Americans won't pay federal income taxes, does this vindicate Mitt Romney from when he was running for president and he said that most Americans are takers? Perdón?
I don't know about Mitt Romney. I just need more tax credits. And give me my student loan debt forgiveness.
So you want more handouts?
Yes. I want to be handed out like Jeff Bezos is. And then Elon Musk is going to build out his AI bots to police us instead of humans.
Oh Lord, I saw that video. But I think we need to fund the IRS and get a whole bunch of what you call them? I guess the IRS officers and
agents, auditors.
They know who they need to tax. They just choose not to.
Well, they're technically getting taxed, but they're just not paying the taxes. That's why we need all these auditors to go to these rich people and make sure they pay us what they owe. I need that meme. Pay us what you owe from Boondocks.
I think they're just using that. They're not funded as an excuse, because they could typically, like, rather than keep auditing me every year, they could
just garnish your rate.
They could just go and audit Jake Bezos and stuff like that. So
well, it's not an excuse. I mean, they really are underfunded, so there are a lot of agents, and then the agents that are left, they're directed to go for the low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
You won't give them the workaround.
But it's direct. It's not like they just decide like, it's like an actual mandate from like Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. But what I'm telling you is that, like, yes, they are underfunded, but like when they go, they will still, because it's not like they just, they always been underfunded. It's just recently in the last, say, 8 years or so, that I think they started cutting a lot of their agents. So, it is somewhat, I think even if you give them the fund, they're still not going to go after the billionaires.
But it depends on the directors. I mean, they won't go after all of them because they're still, I think they'll go over individuals faster. They'll go over corporations. I get to tell you that.
E. Heller said, tax billionaires at state and local to pay for stuff, tax them federally to reduce their power and influence. Yes, sir. Yes, E. Heller. I agree.
Yeah. You gotta take money out of politics, period. Public financing, and that's it.
You have to fix the inequality.
But I digress.
Yes. All right.
So speaking of billionaires, Sacklers threatened to pull out of opioid settlement without broad legal immunity, by John Hoffman of the New York Times. A scion of the Sackler family, the billionaire owners of Purdue Pharma, vowed in court on Tuesday that the family will walk away from a $4.5 billion pledge to help communities nationwide that have been devastated by the opioid epidemic unless a judge grants them immunity from all current and future civil claims associated with the company. Now, this was part of a settlement where nobody in the family went to jail, even though they were pushing OxyContin harder than crack in the 80s. Instead of going under nearly 2 years ago, Purdue filed for bankruptcy restructuring, which put an automatic stay in all the lawsuits that they were up against for the drug pushing and all the deaths that followed. But the Sacklers themselves did not file for bankruptcy, although they insisted that they too benefit from the liability releases expected to be given to their company. And now they also want to be given immunity for future crimes that they're probably, the public will probably find out about as researchers go through all the company records. And if they're not given immunity, they promise to use their billions to drag the cases in court for years and years and decades. So the question is, should the state's attorney generals and the Justice Department capitulate to these rich a-holes so that we can get some monetary relief now, or should they fight the case as long as it takes, Izzy?
As long as it takes. Put these people in jail. Jesus, dude. We've been talking about them for a long time now, and anybody who's interested in this case, as you really should be, because this is the craziest crime syndicate of all time, it feels like. John Oliver, again, last week tonight, three episodes ago, he did an amazing piece on this, even before the New York Times article came out. So, it's even better to watch than reading the article. But I mean, he basically, he details all this. Like the 4.5 billion and no jail time is meaningless. I mean, it's meaningless as a settlement. It does absolutely nothing for anybody. The family has assets over 11 billion. And they even, like the New York Times in a separate article even pointed out that John Oliver mentions that, and this money gets paid off in 9 or 10 years. So with the investments that they have and the interest that they accrue and all that, they're likely going to be richer by the time they're done paying this settlement than what they are today, which is insane.
It's
like
crazy.
How does that even make sense? How would they've walked away from this scot-free, zero actual responsibility, zero actual the zero jail time, nothing. Like just without a scratch. They're walking away from this without a scratch. Also, the other thing that John Oliver mentions, which was really good to note, is that they moved one of their locations addresses to White Plains, New York, purely just so that they can have the bankruptcy settlement done in that area, because the judge on that case that they specifically chose, he supported non-consensual third-party releases, which is what's going to let them get off scot-free without any lawsuits. So just shady practices all the way around. That's why 9 states are fighting it. The Department of Justice is fighting it, and who knows if they're going to succeed.
Yeah, man, I'm for it.
So let me ask you guys a question. They should be sued. Their settlement should be $11 billion, right? We all agree?
They should be
bankrupt.
everything.
They should be
fully
bankrupt.
They have.
That's what I'm saying.
And jail time. And jail time.
Their people died. They need criminal charges too.
I agree.
But not a dollar from their actual family wealth is going to be touched. The only thing that was touched was Purdue, even though they ran Purdue for many years and they were heavily involved firsthand in making it what it was. Also, the other thing that the New York Times article said, which I could not believe, I'm not even sure if this is true because it's so hard to believe. They said they will be allowed to remain involved in their considerable international pharmaceutical companies through which they can continue to produce and market opioids for up to 7 years until the companies are sold to cede the litigation payments.
Yep.
So they can continue to make money off of opioids in order to pay the $4.3 billion settlement, according to that line. I hope that's not true, but if it is, just I don't know.
It's probably true because we've seen in other cases, companies are not held liable for things they do overseas. So they will keep doing it overseas and let the whatever judges want to deal with it over there. and it doesn't matter here.
You know what I say?
Insane. Just
Give them the corporate death penalty. We're going to bring that back, that segment. The corporate death penalty goes to Purdue and these people, this family.
Yeah.
All right, Carlito.
I'm down with E. Heller. I think we need a volcano. We'll give you a volcano sacrifice right now.
Yep.
Like Bedon's Call of Duty team.
Whew, I like that one. All right. Next story. The most vaccine hesitant group of all, PhDs at unheard.com. According to a new paper by researchers from Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh, where they analyzed more than 5 million survey responses by a range of different demographic details and classed those people who probably or definitely not choose to get vaccinated as vaccine hesitant. The highest hesitancy was among people holding PhDs. This is not to say that a ton of PhDs are anti-vaxxers. There aren't that many of them in terms of raw numbers, but a larger percentage of them are idiots when it comes to vaccines compared to other groups. The highest group were people with a lot less education, like high school or less. So the graph of vaccine hesitant people is U-shaped, where you have the uneducated, the more education you have, it goes down, and then PhD goes back up. But another finding was that the less educated people were more willing to change their minds about vaccines than the PhD holders later on. So why do you think that is, John?
Means your level of education doesn't show how smart you really are. And a lot of these PhDs, I wonder if they just survey like the PhDs that are Trump supporters. So they are typically, even though Trump got booed for telling his crowd to get vaccinated. So that was interesting to see. But yeah, I wasn't surprised, to be honest with you, when I read that article. Just because it's always, people will always want to find an excuse to why not get vaccinated, which is why we talked in this show before, that they moved too quickly to lift off the mask mandate. So I said, your level of education, I know a lot of people want to always associate your level of education with how smart you are. And it's not really, I don't think that's always the case.
So I think there's two things here. One, just because you have a PhD in, I don't know, art history, doesn't mean you know anything about biology. So it's not necessarily a sign that you're well versed in the specific subject. And the other thing, specific talking about changing their mind, people with a PhD, I'm guessing the once you get to that level, you're pretty hard-headed and you think you know better. So it's harder for you to change your mind because it might seem as a sign of weakness to you. We know people like to double down rather than admit they're wrong. So it's probably even worse for somebody that's a PhD. So that's my take.
Yeah, maybe also they will be like, well, I'm used to doing research, and they'll make all these cases on why they're not doing it or not doing it. So again, it just goes to show that your level of education sometimes doesn't mean anything.
One of the people on this panel, Izzy, he said just the importance of critical thinking. And I think if there's one thing that you learn from this podcast is you'll see sometimes we come around, sometimes we talk, sometimes we have discussions, but just being able to take in evidence, analyze that evidence, and then come out with a different opinion is such a critical skill that so many people lack. I mean, when I have to argue with anti-vax family members, it's just very, very difficult because no matter what I say, they'll say the decision's over. I already made the decision. I will never do this. I'm like, never. I'm like, even if no matter what evidence comes out, no matter the death rates that are lower, all this, no, never. And I'm just like, how you in that case, you have the TFGs, they're too far gone and you can't do anything about them. So you try, you have your family members that you love and you want to bring them all along to the right side. But it's sometimes you just gotta let things play their course, and it sucks.
Yeah, and the problem that I have with those type of people is that, like, again, they're like, well, we don't care, but we're just gonna live our life like everything. So they're the ones that they may come down like with a cold and they're just out there without a mask and they just really didn't care. Like, and like I always say, like, if you don't want to put the vaccine, that's fine, that's on you. But at least you need to do your part to protect everybody else. Like when you go out, wear your mask. When you're not feeling, you're not feeling well, stay home. Like you say, okay, cool. I'm not taking the vaccine, but I'm doing everything else because I care about my neighbors. And my problem is that these people just don't care. They just like whatever. They go out there, they sneezing on everyone. They're not washing their hands. They're not taking any precaution to really like help out everybody else. So that's the problem. And that's why I said it like that led to lift the mask mandate to go in the honor system was the biggest mistake they made.
What's
I
happening?
take-
Oh, go ahead. It's,
No, I was just gonna say to your point, Gabe, like, you know, we're I've talked to a few people already at this point where we've had to have kind of like difficult discussions, like, you know, if more like when your family members die, you know, how are we gonna handle that, right? Because we knew that they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, they weren't getting vaccinated, they weren't being safe throughout the pandemic, and now we have to start, you know, thinking about like, what is it gonna be like when they die because they were too stupid to do the right thing, even though we love them, you know, like it's just so sad that we even have to have conversations like that these days.
Yeah, that's why, some, people think it's cold, hard or whatever when people that are out there with this takes, like really saying like this is false, whatever, everybody, you're, the worst things you could imagine. I want to curse or whatever, but they say that about, these hoax when they die. I'm like, okay, good for you. I don't care. And people are like, oh, don't be mean. What about their family? Whatever. Like, well, their family led them, or their family might be better off without them because they're not listening to their crap.
Yep. And one thing that I think is important to touch on right now is kids are starting to go back to school, and the world that they're going back to school is a completely different world than last school year, because last school year, the COVID that we knew was a COVID that barely affected kids. It was a COVID that even in worst case scenarios, you wouldn't see kids in the hospital. Whereas the COVID today with the Delta variant, it's highly contagious and it's affecting kids like we didn't see before. We're just putting kids in the ICU, putting more kids in the hospital, and they're calling it now the pandemic of the unvaccinated, who's still unvaccinated. It's not just these kooks that we're talking about. It's also the kids by no choice of their own, by just the way it is. So under 12 right now is still unvaccinated, and we're still sending our kids back to school. We made the choice to keep our kids home and do virtual school. Luckily, out of all the crazy things about Florida, one good thing is they took the time and they did a virtual school. So it's just like a regular school except online. So instead of doing online at your district school, that you could be in the virtual school for the county. So that's what we opted to do, because it's with our kids unvaccinated, I can't imagine them going and getting that sick. So we're trying to do what's right for us and keep our kids home. But I can't imagine we're sending the kids back now at a time where COVID's worse than it was last year. And it's just preposterous.
But like nobody's out there. It's like when the Trump administration was there, everybody was like, oh, profit over people are crazy. Biden is doing the same thing. Biden is not like, yeah, they just encouraging people to vaccinate, but what are they doing? They're not doing anything. What is the Biden administration doing aside saying go get vaccinated?
Come on, man. They're
What are
doing
they supposed to be doing?
What are they doing? First of all, to stupid places like Florida, they're sending them the oxygen mask, the whatever the ICU stuff that they need for the oxygen, because they ran out. They're doing all this drives to get people vaccinated through like marketing, and also through a bunch of vaccination drives. They're giving states money to do that.
But what are you doing in between?
What else are they supposed to be doing?
No, they could go back and put the mask mandate. They could go back and try until people get to the point. They could go back and do many things that they're not doing.
Well, you're trying to say that Biden can, but you're trying to say that Biden can put a mask mandate across the entire country?
Why can't he work with the CDC and do it?
I don't know that he has the ability to do that. How's he going to tell all states you must wear a mask at all times, no matter what? I don't know that he has the authority to do that.
But the CDC was like when people went out there and did it before.
No, that's a suggestion. That's a recommendation. That's a whole different. Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, but even if he could do that, then yeah, he should. But that's like the only one thing that he's not doing. And you saying that he's like the same as Trump, it's just crap, man.
No. What I'm saying is that they're not doing anything aside from just saying, oh yeah, go get vaccinated. It's an honor system. We need you to go get vaccinated. They need to be able to put more stuff, because there's kids that are dying, and I don't think they're doing enough. That's just
so you might say that I'm doing enough, and that's fine, but Even comparing it to Trump is just asinine.
And there are a few solutions that the crew came up with over the past week on the chats. One was segregated schools and segregated segregated hospitals, where if you are segregated by the terms of vaccination. So if you're not vaccinated, there will be schools for you, or if your family doesn't want to wear masks, there should be public schools for them and public schools for those who want to take all the precautions. Same thing for hospitals. Divide hospitals where there be some for those who are unvaccinated and some who are vaccinated, and the ones who are unvaccinated, they may not get the same conditions. I think that where we will start to see the vaccine or the vaccine mindset change is as insurance companies start denying claims. I think that was a big thing that came up last week also, is that insurance companies now, with the Pfizer vaccine being FDA approved, now they can easily say you must get this, or if you get COVID, we're not going to cover you. And I think that'll move the needle a little bit. Now that airlines say you will not be able to travel if you're not at least vaccinated by one of the ones, especially the Pfizer, because that's the one that's FDA approved. So I think with these restrictions coming into place and going across the board, I think we will see at least a little bit, like maybe a 15% improvement, or not 50% improvement, but an additional 15%. So if we're 50% vaccinated now, I think we can get to like 65, 66, just based off of inconveniences that we'll put on the unvaccinated.
But what's the percentage? Isn't it like super high, like 80% or something like that need to be vaccinated?
I think it's 70 something.
Okay.
I think so. If we get to 60 now, we're within striking distance.
Yeah, it's something high there, like it to be able to contain it, right? So like it doesn't spread as fast or something like that. So
hey, shout out to Kathy Lloyd.
She said there's also a water. She said there's a water shortage, and hospitals need that water for oxygen for the ventilators. I didn't know about a water shortage. Holly Horn in the chat. So
in Florida.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think was it when we were talking about like meat or something like that? But no, she's right. There is you do need the water for the oxygen, and they're trying to like restrict that in certain areas just because people really need it for these oxygen machines.
Yeah, I did hear about that. All right, that's Carlito's rundown. I want to touch on a couple topics before we go to the no cow zone. But the first topic is what you guys think. Rahm Emanuel is going to be coming up for confirmation for the ambassador of Japan. I thought it was something that just happened like a while ago, but I guess it still needed to go through Congress. What you guys think?
Imagine being a party that is so committed to terrible people that even when they're strictly rejected, it's like, why don't you put Neera Tanden back in also? It's right? Like you have these people that are loathed by half of the party, and they still just we'll sneak it in now. We'll try to sneak it in next time. By the time they're not paying attention, it's disgusting.
And it's sad because right now there's a lot of tension on Afghanistan and the variant. So I'm thinking they like, okay, we can sneak them in now when all the attention is to this stuff, All right, let's
boy Clyburn was like all about him, right? It's like, oh, I support my colleague for being.
Oh, Clyburn was saying that about Manuel.
Yeah. He was like, I support my. He put a tweet out there saying like, I support my great colleague of Manuel for ambassador of Japan. He's a great person, something like that. He put.
Listen, I'm gonna put Clyburn in the category of Cunha now too. He's gonna be one of them guys, man. Just a sellout.
Yeah, I mean, like,
he put it out there.
This guy did so many things to black people, including covering up the death from the police from I believe McDonald is his last name, and then you have people like Clyburn who's covering for him. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, so here's another tweet. It says the payoff of letting, and this has to do with Chicago also. The payoff for letting one of the richest corporations in the world into Chicago's public parks, $137,600, and seems like yet another reason to keep asking about oversight and money at the park. So I guess to put this Amazon hub, this is at a public park, they're only paying $137K. So they should be paying a lot more to help, fund the parks, get some new, equipment or whatever, and they're just paying a bare minimum.
In just one location, or to put it in all the parks?
That's a good question. I didn't. I'll have to check that
'Cause
out.
if it's one location, I think that's a pretty good deal. If
Okay.
it's like 40
Yeah, for-
parks, I think it's a terrible deal.
Like 130K for the year.
It's a good
Yeah,
one.
like
You
what
know
are the terms there?
See if I can click on it. I'm gonna.
Yeah, so the
How
year
about
one
it doesn't
time.
matter what the terms are. It's a terrible deal. Get the hell. Get what does Amazon need to be doing in parks? What do they need to be doing in parks?
They're using up the space. I saw they're in
If
front
they
of my
pay,
7-Eleven.
it's money.
They
It's
have
good.
an Amazon hub or something like that with lockers in front of my 7-Eleven.
For first year.
Let's see. Parks is set to make 89 to 137 in its full year, allowing retail in more than 100 public parks. In more than 100 public parks.
Terrible.
Damn, there we
Terrible.
go.
They raping
wow.
them.
Paying
That's a
about
terrible deal.
Who
$1,000.
made that deal? Lightfoot or whatever her name?
Jesus.
Oh my god. I gotta talk to Kit from
Leave it-
Heartlands
leave-
Media.
Leave it to Chicago to always do something like this.
I gotta talk to our people in Chicago at
yeah.
Heartlands Media, see what's going on with this. Crazy. All right.
Probably advised by Jim
Wow.
Clyburn.
All right.
I
I'm
said
at
40 would be a bad deal. They're like 100.
100 public parks. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. This is interesting, and we're gonna go into a little
For the year,
Afghanistan
not per month.
for the whole
For
year.
the year.
I'm gonna go into Afghanistan chat right here. Here is Julian Assange speaking in 2011 on Afghanistan. You blow it up and then play it.
Because the goal is not to completely subjugate Afghanistan. The goal is to use Afghanistan to wash money out of the tax bases of the United States, out of the tax bases of European countries, through Afghanistan and back into the hands of a transnational security elite. That is the goal, i.e. the goal is to have an endless war, not a successful war.
Have an endless war, not a successful war. That was the goal for going into Afghanistan. What you guys think?
I don't know what he's
That's
talking
the
about
goal of every
funneling.
war nowadays.
Yeah,
That's a good
and
point.
I don't know what he's talking about funneling money. I mean, obviously, there's billions and trillions that were spent on the war, and obviously, the defense contractors really just made off with all that money, money that was just wasted like crazy. Again, bringing up last night's episode was about Afghanistan specifically, and all the money that was wasted on that war, and the way we just completely deserted those people. So he talked about how it was basically proven that we had no mission for that war. There was no goal. There was no clear organization about what we were doing there and why. Aside from getting Bin Laden, which we did many years ago. So I get all that. It definitely was a wasteful war, but I don't know what he's talking about, like the funneling money
Yeah,
part.
I think it's
don't
just
know.
a terminology. It's just siphoning money, stealing money. I think he means the same thing. It's just a way to get the defense contractors rich.
Exactly. You mentioned it.
That it definitely did.
You mentioned it. The $2 trillion spent on this war. I'm sure a good percentage of that didn't even leave Washington D.C. area, because that's where all the defense contractors are in that area. I'm sure more than half didn't even leave the country to go to Afghanistan. It's funneling the money right back to them. That's what I think he meant.
Yeah, basically, like they were in last week tonight, they were talking about how we spent, I forget how many billions of dollars on a few helicopters and a few airplanes for the Afghan army or Air Force, but they don't even have pilots who can fly those planes and helicopters. They don't have any techs who can work on those planes and helicopters to keep them functional. They don't have any of the infrastructure to run those helicopters and airplanes. So we spent billions of dollars giving them these things that obviously these defense contractors built, and for what? They can't even use them. They're just gonna sit there and collect dust.
100%. So here is a tweet that Susan Sarandon tweeted out. How 8 U.S. presidents maintained the war in Afghanistan. I'm not going to go through all of it, but going back to Jimmy Carter, he launched Operation Cyclone against Afghanistan's left-wing government. I wanted to tweet it out something, and I don't know why I didn't do it, but I wanted to put black or brown plus left-wing government equals coup d'etat by CIA. Because only white people can have a socialist or a somewhat socialist country, i.e. Greenland or all the Nordic countries that they're fine with their socialism and they're having a grand old time chilling, looking at the rest of us. But if you were in Guatemala, all the places that have CIA coups, Cuba, all these different places that try to have a left wing kind of government, CIA comes in and just blows the whole thing up.
I wouldn't call the government of Cuba left wing.
Well, yeah. What are they? They're communists, right?
It's a brutal dictatorship.
And then you could say, yeah, that's the right wing.
They're I wouldn't even call it communist. They're a brutal dictatorship. A brutal, corrupt dictatorship is what they are. It's not even corrupt.
I was trying to think of some socialist countries.
Terrible.
I could go.
But I wouldn't call it socialism at all. That's not what that is.
I will go to Iran. You're right, Gabe. That's not a pure socialist, but I'll go to Iran when Mosaddegh was in charge. I think he was the prime minister, and they had a left wing government, and they tried to nationalize the oil. I'm reading a book called All the Shah's Men. Not reading. I'm listening to the audiobook. All the Shah's Men, and it's going into the details of that. It's very interesting, very fascinating. But yeah, so a lot of I think Chile with Arbenz, was he in charge of Chile? Before they overthrew his government. So all these left-wing governments get overthrown by our CIA. And I've been actually thinking, we talk about reparations for former slaves, and I agree with that. I'm wondering if these countries where we committed coup d'etat should be asking for reparations because of all the atrocities and all this stuff, and how it should be paid. Tax Wall Street, give them a special tax, or even go back to the specific companies that called for these governments to be overthrown, like the fruits company. If you guys remember the banana company, the fruits company, I believe it's called. But anyway.
Yeah, United Fruit, I think.
United Fruits Company, exactly. So let me finish this up. So Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, all these different countries is a very interesting picture that talks about all the different ways we intruded in Afghanistan. All right, let's go on. Power never takes a back seat, only in the face of more power. Malcolm X. Betty through. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to our first discussion of the no-cow zone. And I want to go to the one, I think Bendone brought this up, with how much money should a socialist have? And I think this is a play off of Hassan Piker. He bought a house for $3 million, I believe, and it was just all over Twitter, and people were, dogging him for it. Right wing, left wingers were also dogging him. So let me put that out to the crew. Who anybody wants to speak on this first?
Any amount they want.
Okay, so Bendone says a socialist can have any money, any amount. Hey, let me go to the progressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on this one. Now, I'm gonna bet on this one because just because you're a socialist doesn't mean you gotta be poor your whole life either. So
okay,
make money.
So is there anybody who?
So are you guys okay with a socialist billionaire?
Yes, I'm okay with a socialist billionaire. As long as billionaires still exist.
That's basically you're describing Cuba, socialist billionaire government.
But also, we always say that if you're a billionaire,
I'm so confused because in 1 week, billionaires, people shouldn't be having all this money, and then this week, socialists could have any money that they want.
This is why I'm confused. What just happened?
I say
at least I'm consistent.
Yeah.
Hey, I said it. I said it in the chat when we were talking about it. I don't mind people making money as long as it's ethical and legal.
But didn't we all agree, except for John, that you can't be an ethical billionaire?
Without, I was just about to make that point.
That's why I put an asterisk at the end. I said as long as billionaires exist, I'd rather not have any.
This is so confusing. Okay, well anyway, let me get my take. I think that this whole Hassan thing is I am confused. This Hassan thing is the way I explained it to Carlito is I feel like if you're gonna call yourself a socialist and you're gonna make money off of socialism, and you're gonna be on YouTube talking about socialism, and you have to live like a socialist. You have to live like one. I'm not saying you have to be poor. I'm not saying you have to give up everything you have, but do you really need a 5-bedroom 3,800 square foot, $3 million house in West Hollywood that is a choice. You know, it is a choice to live in that neighborhood, right, and spend all that money on a house. When we don't, you know, the rest of our country is not being well taken care of. Like, can you really claim to be a socialist and make money off of socialism? You know, because this is what your brand is, your platform on YouTube, and then just live excessively or extravagantly. That part I can't reconcile. I don't make anywhere near the amount of money that Hassan does, but I live my values. You know what I mean? Like, I don't live excessively. I give what I can. I sacrifice like crazy just for the environment, for our, you know, our world, our planet. So like, is he doing any of that?
Interesting.
Is there levels to socialism though? Would you say? Would you like?
There's not necessarily levels. There are different forms of socialism, of course. But you know, how can you live? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Would you consider John a socialist because he shops at Amazon?
What? I don't even, does that, the question does not compute. John does not claim to be a socialist, and no, he's not a socialist. What does Amazon have to do?
I think that's interesting.
I've never said I'm a socialist.
I'm glad that Izzy got that take, because that's different than, because I was going in the direction of Carlito and Bendon. Like, you can, as long as it's ethical, you know, you can have as much money as you want. But you're bringing up the point that, so you have to kind of define a socialist, the lifestyle that they should have. So let me ask you that question. So what exactly, and you said not excessive, but can you go into a little bit details on what a socialist lifestyle?
So my thing is that we don't live in a socialist society, right? We live in capitalism, right? So if you were going to claim to be a socialist in a capitalist society, like, you can't say like, I'm a socialist when we all live in capitalism, and like the society doesn't hold you to that, right? So you have to at least be able to like act out your values if you're going to call yourself a socialist. There is nothing about buying a $3 million 5-bedroom house with a pool and 3,800 square feet that distinguishes you from a capitalist, right? Isn't that exactly what a capitalist would do?
No,
interesting.
Because capitalists will buy the $3 million house but not pay any of his shares. Like, he would not pay anything.
But you don't. But we live in a capitalist society. You don't have a choice on not paying your taxes. You have to pay your taxes, right?
No.
So let me give.
We just talked about that.
Let me give another example, because I think Izzy's kind of selling me to his side. All right, and let me give another example.
So there's two.
Hold on, Carlito. So Sawama Sawant, right? She's a socialist alternative. She's part of the Socialist Alternative. That's the name of the organization. You know, they have DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. And then there's another socialist organization called Socialist Alternative, and she is part of the city council. She's very famous for being part of the city council in Seattle, helped start the Fight for 15 movement, right? What she does with the amount of money she makes from being on the council, she only takes the minimum wage. So I guess for there, they did raise it to $15 an hour. So let's say, I'm not exactly sure how much a councilwoman makes or a person makes, but I know, let's go with Congress. Congress makes, I think, $157,000 a year if you're in Congress. Like,
179,000.
Okay, thank you, sir. 179. So let's just say you get elected to Congress and you're a socialist, right? So like the AOCs and types. If you were Sawama Sawant, you would still only take $15 an hour, so whatever that is, what, like $45,000 a year, or whatever $15 an hour is, and then what she does is the rest of the money she gives it back to the Socialist Alternative Organization so that it can grow that movement, and they could, you know, do whatever actions. It helps fund the actions and stuff like that. So I think, Izzy, that's what you're talking about as a socialist. That's something what you should do. Am I right?
Yeah, because the government is not going to force you to do anything like that. Like, our society is not set up in that way because we are a capitalist society. So if you are going to claim that word, if you're going to claim socialism, you have to live those values. I'm not calling like AOC a socialist, but we even know when she got into the office, she took a huge pay cut so that she could pay everybody that worked for her a living wage. Like, if you do things like that, like, you know, even Bedon before brought up Dan Price, right? Like, the way he runs his company and the way he gives all of his workers not just a living wage, but a very, you know, very livable wage. Like, you have to be able to live those values.
Bernie Sanders have 3 houses.
I understand that, but Bernie Sanders lives his values. Like the thing
But
is,
he has 3 houses. As a socialist, you shouldn't have 3 houses based on
but
your point.
okay, but look at everything Bernie Sanders has done for this country. What has Hassan done? What does Hassan do with his money?
Yeah, but I mean, I see you, Izzy, but I mean, having 3 houses, that sounds excessive too.
Yeah,
Well, hold on, because I read the article. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. He got a house. His wife inherited a house, and then I think another house was like, okay, I'm not making a good argument because one was a summer home or something like that, and then one is this regular house. But I don't think it's as bad as you guys think.
You know what we're saying is we can't say, oh, well, Bernie already paid his dues. He gives all his other money. We don't even know what this guy does or doesn't do with his money or not. What we're saying is, so if you're saying then, okay, if I make $20 million and I decide to donate 15 and I decide to buy myself a $3 million house, I have a problem because I'm claiming to be a socialist and I don't need a $3 million house.
Oh, but you just said it right there. You made 20 million and you donated 15. That's amazing. That would be great. What is Hassan doing? Again,
so
you don't know.
What are we doing? He's a progressive commentator like us. I mean,
so like if you're saying tomorrow we blow up and each of us making like, you know, I'm gonna buy me a house in Miami.
Yeah, because you're not a socialist. What do you think I will do? What do you think I will do with that money? Though?
What would you do?
You think I'm gonna go buy a house in Miami?
You can pay
land.
You can pay land.
You gotta buy some land in the woods.
and
You can pay
three
with
boxable containers.
You can pay with those loans.
All right, so I'm gonna solve this right now.
I think there's 2 things, man. There's like
He'll buy 300 acres in Wyoming.
I'm gonna solve this right now.
Like,
So
I think what it was,
things,
who
man.
was it that said ECD to stop pocket watching?
Yeah, Alan.
Alan.
See, that's what I'm talking. See, there's 2 issues. There's like, how much money should you make? I don't care. You know, whatever. Now, what do you do with that money, or how do you live? What other things you do to forward that movement? That's a different story. You know, and then with that, I could agree with Izzy a little bit more. But as far as how much you can make, I don't care how much you make.
But I already said that to you directly in our chat, right? Like it's not about how much money he made.
I'm just reiterating it here.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's not about how much money he made. You know, he's gonna make the money he makes on YouTube, and that's okay. Like you've even said, like he's not exploiting anyone by doing that. I mean, he may be exploiting the socialist movement, but aside from that, he's not exploiting any workers. So if he makes the money he makes, then that's fine. But do something positive with that money that actually helps the movement and helps people around you rather than
but I
buy
don't
an
even
excessive house.
feel comfortable alleging that that he's even doing that. We don't know.
I think. All right, so I'm gonna solve it.
I don't think there's a problem, but
I'm gonna solve it, and then we're gonna move on.
He bought a $3 million house.
Because basically, this is how we're gonna solve the issue. I think we look at each socialist and their situation and judge them accordingly. Right, so someone like Suwama Suwan, I put her at super high regard because of what that takes a ton of principle to say. I don't know if she even has student loans. I would, if it was me, I would say, okay, let me pay off all my debt first. Okay, now I would decrease my salary and da. I don't know if she did that from the beginning or what she did, but just by the fact that alone, she's saying, I'm going to put myself at the lowest tier along with all the other citizens who are making the minimum wage because I want to feel that pain. I think she deserves to be a top tier A+ socialist. Then you got Hassan Piker, who just bought a $3 million house. I didn't even know all the details, 5-house pool and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're socialists, but they get a grade of a D, you know, on the category scale. Everybody agree?
All right. So Alan Ambister said, "I'd rather y'all be talking about Afghanistan. Stop the YT drama."
Stop the YT
drama. Speaking of
Let's...
Jimmy Dore now,
just real quick. I mean, to talk to Alan's point, you know, this isn't just about Hassan. Like we're using him as an example. Like this is more, to me at least, about the socialist movement and how you should live your life if you're going to claim that title. I could care less about Hassan. I really don't even know anything about the dude, so I could really care less about him.
All I'm saying is we can't say one thing about him and then say Bernie's okay.
But except we can because they don't live the same lifestyle. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, move on.
Bernie has 3 houses.
Okay, but you're missing the point. Move on.
All right, let's move on to this clip as we go on to the next
spicy.
No Calzone. I got this is Gabe's favorite person. Gabe, look what I got for you, buddy.
95% of her caucus. All of this she wants to have done by October 1st. She has 9 members that disagree with that. They do not represent the centrist caucus. The new Dems, who are almost 100 members, and the progressives are another 100 members, 99% of them are with the speaker. So this is a tactical discussion. They want the vote on infrastructure first. They're holding out for that. She has consensus by, 95% of her caucus, except for these members. And it really is, it's not an ideological discussion because almost all of the centrists are with the speaker on the order in which she wants to have the votes. They understand that their progressive colleagues have to be brought together, that they have to clearly have a consensus on the order in which they take the votes.
So all right, boom. So basically, let me give the context real quick. Let me give so basically, this is about Nancy Pelosi putting pressure on the 9 moderates who are trying to say, oh, we got the Senate already voted on the bipartisan bill. Now they just need the House, and then it will be the president who signs it into law. Why don't we just sign the vote for the bipartisan bill and get this thing going, right? But we know that this is a sham. They're trying to get the bipartisan bill passed, so now progressives don't have the leverage that we need to make sure that the $3.5 trillion spending bill gets passed. So she's trying to say, and somebody put in the comment like, wow, even Donna Shalala is trying to like wipe their hands of these 9 moderates.
If she gets it.
Yeah, saying like, oh, these 100 centrists are not with these 9 moderates, so don't put our name in there. But go ahead, Gabe.
I was gonna say, if Donna Shalala agrees with us, that's something that is unacceptable. I'm watching this video ready to get mad. Yeah, and she came through with just like basic common sense. So kudos to her. Maybe she's learning from her embarrassing loss.
So let me bring this up. Let me bring up the no-con zone topic.
I like to see Pelosi holding strong on this. It makes me feel good, but also it's interesting to see these 9 how long they stay strong, because they're fighting for whatever the hell their cause is. But on our side, we've been trying to get our progressives to fight. Maybe they have a tactical win here. They're kind of been going along to getting along, and then right now it kind of is paying off. Maybe, I don't know. If it plays out well and we eventually get that 3.5, then I'll give the progressives a tennis clap for their role in getting it done.
So not only 3.5, that's 3.5 plus 1.5.
The 3.5 plus the 1, right?
Yeah, that's like 5. Mama, Bernie wanted the $6 trillion at the beginning. That's close to Bernie style. So go ahead, Carlito.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had us say conservatives holding out versus the incrementalists. It's a lose-lose. And I said it's a lose-win some, because, they're finally holding out. That's a win. Instead of, being kind of defeatist, you should like encourage them. Hey, you're doing a good thing. Keep doing it. Do it again. Encourage them, because if we're just gonna, they finally do what we want and we just say like, whatever, what's their incentive to even do what we want in the future then?
Yeah. I think that we still need to push them. I think we still need to push them.
They're holding out, so they're doing good right now.
I don't mind people being
but I'm saying
Nancy's.
We should encourage them. We tell them you're doing a good thing.
I agree with that.
Keep doing it. Instead of saying like, whatever.
Izzy, what you think?
Shout out to Alan in the chat. Forced to vote looking different now. Not really. I think we'll see at the end what gets done, and this is one issue and one policy and one, so it's like, if it's a baby step. That's why I said it's a tennis clap. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, they have dominated with their supreme chess. No, I mean, like, when we start getting Medicare for all, when we start getting those things, then we start giving like the roar of approval versus the little tennis golf clap.
So, so I'm cool with that. You give the tennis clap instead of the middle finger.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Izzy. What you think?
Now we're turning the tide around of the show. We're going from like the downer. Now it's like progressive props.
You're getting positive, baby.
To getting strategy. Positive. We're ending on a high note.
I keep trying
somebody gonna ruin it.
I'm trying to get Izzy's take on this because I'm curious what he thinks as
it's
far
9 o'clock.
as...
It's 9 o'clock. What do we got?
Let's talk about climate change.
Overtime.
Yeah. Izzy, can you hear me? I'm like trying to get his attention. He's not talking at all. Are you muted?
I'm here. Is that I think you're a little delayed or something, so it's kind of hard to hear you sometimes.
Oh, okay, my bad. What was
Overtime.
that? All right. So I'm going to play this last video and then we're going to end the show. All right. And this has to do with the Justice Democrats are fighting back, baby. You got the Justice Democrats, Sunrise Movement, and the Working Families Party had ads out, and one of them is on Collier. Let me bring up the video.
By Democrats, backed by Justice Democrats.
So a bit of a pile on here from progressives. I want to play a little bit of this ad from the Justice Democrats targeting these moderate nine. Listen to this.
These 9 conservative Democrats are sabotaging Biden's agenda because it would make billionaires and corporations pay their fair share. Tell Representative Gottheimer, stop obstructing President Biden and start working for the American people.
Progressives making Josh Gottheimer famous here is an interesting strategy. Could that backfire? There's moderates probably like being able to go home and say, I'm standing up to the most progressive elements of the Democratic Party. Do they not?
Absolutely, Garrett. It is very comfortable for Josh Gottheimer or even someone like Carolyn Bordeaux down in Georgia to be at odds with the progressive wing on this. But look, Justice Democrats has issued threats to incumbent lawmakers, and they've taken down some high-profile lawmakers. So I wouldn't call them completely paper tigers here. Joe Crowley might be able to speak to that. Elliot Engel, both of whom got primaried by Democrats, backed by Justice Democrats, and lost their seats as a result of it. So I think they are trying to deliver a warning shot to Democrats that, yeah, you might be getting cover from centrist groups like No Labels, but you will be getting pushback from the left. Could they primary them? This group has not been successful at all in primarying Democrats in swing districts. They've been successful in dark blue districts. So it's a whole new dynamic born out of desperation to get this reconciliation package through and to maximize progressive leverage in doing that. Garrett?
Don't worry, we coming. We coming for those mixed districts. It's all good. Very soon. What you guys think?
Is anyone unsure what side of the aisle this guy falls on? This commentator guy, like he sounds like a Republican, like straight out of the Republican library. Like, what is this guy? Who is this guy?
Yeah. They're talking about, oh, is this really a threat? You know, but at least he told the truth. He said, hey, they did come after Crowley, and they came after the guy that Jamal Bowman destroyed.
Yeah, but he brings up Elliot Engel, like Jamal Bowman wasn't a slam dunk race after Elliot Engel lost his mind and freaking while he was hot mic'd. You know what I mean? Like he threw away that race. Like, don't bring him up like he was some kind of threat after he did that,
All right, let's get some love to the chat and let's get out of here. Thank you so much for being here. Saw a couple of new names. Pookie Wood, thanks for coming back. Who else we got? E. Heller. We got PJ Neat, PJ Chris.
E. Heller throwing everybody into the volcano.
Patrick, centrist Democrats are basically Republicans. Yep, pretty much.
Yep. Holly Horn, PJ Holly Horn. Thank you for coming out. Kathy Lloyd.
We had Chris earlier. Kathy Lloyd. Kathy Lloyd is a new name we haven't seen.
Much love to you,
everybody. Appreciate it.
So
everybody on Twitch, I have to close it down.
I want to show this real quick. Our PJ, Imani Oakley. Go give some love. OakleyForCongress.com. Send some coins if you can. She's about to finish the PJ, the People's Gauntlet. It's already in the can. I just gotta edit it up and put it out there. And she's going to be the very first People's Contender, and then the next step is becoming a People's Champion. So we're making big moves over here in the progressive movement, and I'm looking forward to when the progressive can take over one of those mixed districts, so we could take away that argument that that guy just said, oh, they're just taking the blue district, deep blue districts. So anyway, I'll go around the horn one last time with my guys. Any last words, Carlito?
Phase up.
Gabe.
Get vaccinated.
Izzy.
What's the website?
Vaccinate.com.
These are my last words.
Bendone. He said his last words. John.
1v1 me.
You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. If you stayed if you was here from the beginning.
Did you skip John again?
No, I gave him time. I gave John time. He didn't say anything. Unless my mic is really that delayed. Damn.
I'm used to it by now.
So if you was here from the beginning to the end, then you are a true political junkie. Much love. Last shout out to Paul Patrick. Democrats are paving the way for 2022 House and Senate. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Thank you for being on the show. Let's end it up right here. And let me give a shout out to Pedro Hernandez and Nancy Bancher. Thank you for being Patreon members. See y'all. Oh, no show next week. I'm putting it out there right now. I'm going on vacation and I'm tired. So
join the Discord, join the Patreon. Yeah. We gotta get Case a bigger background picture.
Yeah, Gabe,
I gotta get a green screen, right?
I'm in the Discord.
We gotta get a better PC so that my webcam is not taking up some of the resources, and I keep hearing a little popping when people talk. Let me know in the chat if you hear a little popping when we talking. So I might have to go back, fade myself back for the next show. But we're going to do the 52nd show soon, the next show the next week, and that's 52 weeks, a year, so a 1 year anniversary. So thank you so much to everybody. I had fun. I want to thank my guys because I couldn't do this show without them. So, and they've been very diligent, again, except for Felipe. Felipe came and left. He did a little spurt.
Wow, you threw Felipe under the bus.
Under the bus.
We gotta get some merch so that
farther right you go, the less you can be counted on.
Exactly.
We'll get some merch so that Neat could get his Felipe shirt.
Yeah, we got to replace.
Congratulations on that music not coming out today.
Yo,
oh yeah, we made it through the whole episode.
I did. Music. I did make sure I had extra attention to that, definitely. But no, play us out, baby. Play us out with that music. Yeah. So, thank you so much. 907. See y'all 2 weeks from now. I'm going to Florida.
Just dance.
I'm going on vacation, baby.
No jet ski. Just dance.
Thank you.